afternoon. Yeah, that you knew. Harris is drinking, and yes, I'm thinking, and I'm plotting and scheming.
Yo. Back up in the building. For yet another one. Starting the show in just a minute. Harry's drinking again. Pubcast. Episode 111. All right. Bow. We are back in the building for another edition of the Harry's Drinking Again Pubcast. I'm your host, Harry Too Scary, aka Mr. Harris. And tonight, we have the 111th edition of Therapy Night Rants, baby. That's right. Staying consistent and staying strong. Yes. We got a good one for you tonight. Interesting one. We're going to talk to a wrestler, professional wrestler. And I believe he's going to be giving away a couple of free tickets as well. If you're in the Reno area, he goes by the name of Chase Havoc. He's coming on in just a minute. If you didn't know, officially sponsored by Gubba Rum. Visit GubbaRum.com today to find out where you can get your bottle. Very own. They got a Gubba Gold, vanilla, smooth, delicious. And they got a coconut, Gubba Silver, baby. But tonight, I chose to stop and get me a Modelo Chelada with the lime and salt. And a couple of Tahoe Blue shooters. Let's get the levels right here. Yes. All right. We might be having Brian Beeline later on in the show. I'm not sure. I know he was having some family travels or something this weekend, but nonetheless, we're going to give you a good show. Like I said, I am Harry Too Scary. This is my therapy, man. Every Thursday, I come through, as you know, the good, the bad, the ugly. I let it be known what's going on. But tonight we got a nice interview for you. I went to this man's wrestling match a couple weeks ago. It was very interesting. And we're going to get into it. Sorry about that. All right. Baby trying to bring me food. You know, we just got back from my son's basketball game. They lost again. God damn it. But they played hard, and it was a really good game. They're getting better as the season goes along. She just trying to bring me food. And you know, I don't eat on the show. Only on Thanksgiving when we do the pubs giving. It's really the only time I eat on the show. If I can help it. You know what I mean? Shit. I don't know. But also, tonight we're live, YouTube, Twitch, X, Facebook, and Podbean. And you can also catch the show every Saturday and Sunday night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern on WDJY.com. Shout out to Hype Global Media. Yes. 99.1 out of Atlanta. That's how we're doing it. So here in just a moment, let me make sure everything's pulled up. Stacy Lewis on Podbean. Thank you. Just hope you guys have a good show. Thank you. I hope so too. You know, I hope so too. Let's get some traction back. Let's go. 420 subs. Still pushing for that 500. So if you do like the content, subscribe to the channel, man. Fuck the notification bell. Just hit the goddamn subscribe. Let me get closer to my goal. All right. So without further ado, though, the man, the myth, and the legend is ready behind the scenes. Producer, do we have the intro music? We got the intro music loaded. He says it's all a go. So coming to the stage, a wrestler who goes by the name of Chase Havoc. Yes.
How's it going?
I'm doing good, my man. I'm doing good. How you doing tonight? All right. If you have it playing in the back, just mute it. There's a little echo coming in. If you have something playing on there.
I'm not really tech savvy.
That's better. As long as it's you're not playing the show nearby, just like muted or whatever. Oh god. All good, yeah. You're all good there, man.
All right.
You're all right. Should be good. But that's all right, man. This is the Harris's Drink It Again pubcast. You know, we don't judge over here, and we do things rough, rugged, and raw, man. So we just go and get it any way we can, man. So I want to start off. Get my music here. Anyway, how you doing tonight, man? Thank you for coming through.
I appreciate the time. You know, I'm doing real well. Just in between shows right now, so just working, slaving, trying to get ready for the next one.
Hell yeah. All right. Yeah, I was at the last one a couple weeks back, and you have another one coming up here. It's this Spring Stampede. I could actually pull it up a little bit there.
Yes,
Just for a minute.
April 13th.
April 13th. Okay. And then, so Wild West Championship Wrestling, is this your league that you're in? Are you you're a member of this wrestling league or federation?
Yes, yeah. I've been an active member in this with this wonderful group of individuals since coming out of retirement about 4 years ago now.
All
Like
right.
it's amazing.
God damn it. I gotta figure out how to get this thing smaller. Shit. My apologies. Uh, God damn, I got you blocked off here. One sec. One second. Highlight, you fucker. All right. Ah. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So you said came out of retirement 4 years ago. So how long have you been wrestling? You know, during your entire career, did you wrestle in high school and all that stuff as well?
I did a little bit of wrestling in high school. Uh, not gonna lie, I was like the anti-jock. You know, I didn't really hang out with those guys very often because I was the fat kid. You know, I had glasses, and I may have came from the poor side of the neighborhood. So you know, no, actually, I got my wrestling start uh, 1983 when
Oh,
Hogan slammed Andre. I was watching it with my uncle and my dad, and I says, one day I'm gonna be a professional wrestler, and it was in my mind my entire life. And I got my opportunity, and I wrestled, all over, all over. Um, and then an injury took me out. Never thought I was gonna wrestle again. And then I got a great opportunity with this promotion, and just started running with it.
so about how long were you out of like high school, or when you started wrestling? You said 83 ish.
Yeah, I first saw my first wrestling in '83. Um, I started wrestling originally in uh, 98, 99. Um, and I had some wonderful trainers. One of my trainers was a former WWE competitor. Um, my mentor and my biggest trainer of all time was Mustafa Saeed from ECW days. Um, you know, they both took what I had and just fashioned it into into a different side, I guess is what I'd like to say. You know, I'm 5'11", 285 pounds. Um, if people see me on the street, they think that guy is a bruiser, and that's exactly the gimmick that I play is a bruiser from Steel City, Detroit.
Okay.
So
And I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you if you grew up out here in Reno, but you're from Detroit
no,
originally.
actually, I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. All right. Born and raised in Brooklyn. How long you been out here in Reno for?
Um, on and off since I on and off since 2003.
Okay. So the scene. I mean, obviously New York is the epicenter of America. Um, when you were a little kid, did you go to a lot of wrestling matches, and did you just watch it from afar on TV? How did that? I mean, you said that you seen a match on TV, and that struck your
That struck the chord. Yeah,
curiosity.
you know. I went to a few matches when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I grew up watching it on TV every Saturday night. Huddled around the TV with my grandfather, watching Saturday Night Main Event, or um, my love of wrestling has transcended generations now. I go back. I like watching a lot of the stuff from the late '70s, early '80s.
Mm.
You know, when it wasn't sports entertainment, it was professional wrestling.
Right. Yeah, I know we were talking about that a little bit at work and stuff. I'm probably a little younger than you. I'm 37. I came up, you know, the uh, the video game on Super Nintendo. I think they had a WWF,
Mm-hmm.
wrestling. But
Yeah.
Bam Bam Bigelow, Booker T, Sting, the '90s, Shawn Michael, and then when the NWO came, I think for every kid my age in the late '90s, that was like the fucking, because I was already a Sting fan and a Diesel.
Yeah.
When they all came together, that was like the golden era for myself. Love those
Yeah.
days.
I remember. I remember the. I was watching it live that night that Hall and Nash showed up to WCW and kept talking about the third member of the NWO. Nobody expected it to be Hogan, and that was huge because I grew up watching him, you know, with the red and yellow and that whole, that whole thing. And like I said, it was watching him slam Andre that got me into the love of professional wrestling and that want and that desire to be that bigger than life superstar. And to watch that, it literally crushed me. I'm not gonna lie. I was one of those Hulkamaniacs, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, train every day. Yeah, that crushed me.
Right now, in the I mean, you are a professional, semi-pro? I mean, what are the levels? Obviously, like NBA. There's high school, college, D League. You can go overseas. What are some of the? I know in wrestling, at least some of the podcasts I've listened to back in the day, they used to have like little regions. I guess like each promoter kind of had regions, but can you explain a little bit of just how the levels work and how you work yourself up
We are
these different?
we are what is called an indie wrestling promotion. Um, Indie being short for independent. Um, the days of the territories are gone. Just alone in Wild West Championship Wrestling now, we have some of the most amazing athletes coming from northern, central California, Seattle, Salt Lake City. Um, I mean, so I myself wrestle in California every once in a while. So it's I'm not I'm we're not we know nobody's tied to one company, and that's great. Is I get to go to another promotion, and either they can use either they can use me as I am, or they may have a different idea for what they want me to be, and I can easily transform right into that gimmick or become that character over there. Um, Most everybody prefers the the knuckle dusting brawler that I am.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So even in these independent leagues, I mean, is there like a narrative already kind of laid out? Within when you sign up or when you go to one of these events, to maybe either who wins or just is there like a layout or a storyline that you guys kind of have to follow?
Yes, yes. We have individual in the business called the Booker, and the
Yeah.
Booker, his job is to get talent to the show, and you know he or she lines up the matches, and our entire business is nothing more than storytelling with a lot of hard hitting action involved. So you being at the last show, you got to see some things that you know individuals who may have been following my career for the last year or whatever. For them, it was a complete surprise. Like at the end of the match when I turned on my partner. You know, I that was something that was added for the storyline to continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does one? I mean, like, how does one say become a champion, or if someone's like really a fan favorite? Is there a lot of favoritism with like a promoter that maybe you've lost a couple of matches and you're like, man, I don't want to go out there and just lose again. I mean, is there a lot of politics in this game as well?
I don't. Uh, I've never really dealt with it that way. I know that. I know that when a booker calls me and wants me to work for their promotion, I'm there to do a job. So whatever my role in that job is, I do it. If they say, hey, you're gonna come here and you're gonna wrestle for 12, 15 minutes, and you're gonna lose. Yeah, okay. It might not be you know what I'd like to see happen, but it's what's best for business.
Mm.
I can't go into some you know outside promotion and you know being very little unknown in that area, walk out, slap their heavyweight champion in the mouth, and walk away with a championship.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to I'm gonna get a Beeline on here in a minute, and he's the other guy who does the wrestling
Yes, yes.
podcast. So I'm gonna make that connection. Shout out to Beeline and CET 1421. This promotion, brother. Um, what kind of you know fitness routine are you doing these days? To keep yourself. I mean, I seen you guys out there flying around, and I mean, you guys are still hitting for real. You're getting thrown to the ground. You're abusing your body. How do you keep yourself, you know, in shape and able to so durable? Is there any specific thing you do?
Well, I do. Um, as part of my gimmick, I'm supposed to be, this bigger than life brawler type guy. So I'm constantly 30 minutes of cardio a day, in the gym lifting for 2 hours, um, hour and a half minimum. I train very very intensely just to keep my cardio up so I can get in the ring and do this for 10, 12, 15 minutes. There's no other sport in the world like professional wrestling. And no matter what you do, you can't train in any other style but professional wrestling to do what we do. At least that's my thought.
Okay. Yeah, because I was noticing, there's a couple of, I think the last match, it was like some, bigger, like ripped up guys, and he's doing the, I forget the name, but he's bouncing off the ropes. And so there's different. Everybody has a little niche, right? Oh, he's a what's it called? A Lubrador or some shit. Luchador, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so and are you doing a lot more like powerlifting and and things of that nature just to keep your strength and bam, you know what I mean, knock motherfuckers down?
Yeah, I'm more of a I'm more of I got that strongman build.
Uh,
I'm not an individual that's gonna walk around with with a ripped six pack. But believe me when I say that I've got a keg, solid keg here. Um, I am a very solid 285 pounds. So
oh yeah. How long you see yourself, wrestling for? Just as long as your body will let you. Is it truly a love thing?
I
Or,
when I was first approached with this to come back out of retirement, I was real hesitant. I mean, I hadn't wrestled in years. When I say years, I'm talking 2006, 2007 was probably my last, and and I was real hesitant because I hadn't done anything this physical in a long time. But yeah, now I my first my first couple little interactions weren't even actually inside the wrestling ring for this promotion. I started as hired security for the general manager at the time, and the moment that I got to put my hands on somebody and drag them out of the building, I was hooked again. It was just beautiful. And now for me, it is a love for the business. Um, I and I say all the time when people ask me, well, how long you gonna wrestle for? I say, well, until my body tells me I gotta stop or I lose the love for the business. And I'm very proud to say that at 46 years old right now, my body's still holding strong, and I've got the biggest heart for this business.
yeah, that's awesome, man. Is there a lot of opportunities? Say, let's say outside of wrestling, if you wanted to go into the promotion lane, or if you wanted to start your own, wrestling matches, is there a lot of like opportunity for that for somebody?
Yeah, I mean, if as with anything else, it's connections. If you have the right connections, you can do almost anything. Um, in my time, I have done ring crew, timekeeper, ring security. Um, I was there for about one or two shows. I was just walking around the ring, not really part of the show. Even the boys and the girls in the back didn't even know that I was a part of the show until I told them, "You can hit me. I'm a part of this." So you know, uh, like later on down the road, yeah, I might like I'd like to get my hands into the training class. You know, train some new up and comers. Um, maybe become a booker myself. Maybe become promoter. Whatever but that's still a long time away as far as I'm concerned. You know.
Right. Growing up in Brooklyn, I mean, did you get a lot of fights as a kid? Were you, you know,
Oh
always
yeah.
scuffling and shit?
Oh yeah. A
As a
lot.
kid?
A lot. The neighborhood that I grew up in was. It's ironic. I'm this little Irish kid. And neighborhood that I lived in at the time was literally one side of the street was Irish, the other side of the street was Italian, and yeah, we're talking fights every day coming home from school. Bats, chains, you name it. It was beer bottles. You find a brick on the road, you're coming in swinging. So
Yeah.
you have to learn to defend yourself real quick.
Like, yeah, what's that movie? The Outsiders, you know?
Right, right, exactly. Yeah.
Damn. All right. Um, are you a family man? You have kids and a wife and everything, and or what do they think about that? Your dad wrestling and things of that nature. Is it? Do you like to coolest dad in the world, strongest dad and shit.
My my wife is a huge supporter of of the promotion. They they none of them miss a show. If they can help it, and it's an all ages show, which luckily this year all of our Wild West shows are all ages. So they don't miss a show if they can. If they have a chance to go, they go. My two oldest boys work ring crew, so that means they're doing one of the hardest jobs in the business, getting there and helping the ring together and putting it together, making sure that it's set up and safe for all of us athletes in there. Um, my wife usually helps out with ticket sales, and it's a family business. It's what it boils down to.
Yeah. What's this? I seen when I was there. There's a thing called Hood Slam. Hood Slam. Is that a
Yes,
is that a different kind of league or just an event like
no,
the Spring Sam?
they're just a different. They're just a different promotion. It um, has their booker. We book a lot of he books a lot of the same wrestlers. You know, so um, they're in the building every other month, and then we're in the building every other month. So it's a great opportunity for individuals to see a wider spectrum of the great athletes that are in the area.
Hmm. And since you've been here like '03, have you seen the competition like in the area get better? With time, is there like has the infrastructure changed or anything programmed? So, this area just gotten better as far as like indie wrestling, or is it still a few years away?
I think it's on a. I think that indie wrestling in the immediate area is right now it's a rocket ship and it's just getting ready to take off.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a couple of great promotions in the area, all of which's names I can't remember at the moment. Maybe one or too many headshots in my time. Um, but I think indie wrestling in the immediate area and the surrounding areas, as a matter of fact, it's just a rocket ship, and it's getting ready to take off. Like I think this is going to be both an exciting and probably Wild West's best year in the last couple of years, to be honest
Okay. WWC Wild West Championship. That's interesting. I watch movies like the wrestler with the was it Mickey Rourke and um, on YouTube they got this series called The Dark Side of the Ring and
with you.
really great series and they always highlight the drugs, the sex, just Andre the Giant, drinking whatever 60 beers and then he's going out for a wrestling match. Is Are those days still around? I mean, being a bunch of just crazy wrestler guys. I mean, is there a group that, whether it's on the indie circuit or not, they're like fucking, just raging and going in the ring, fucking coked up and body slam motherfuckers, or is that kind of overhyped? And these guys are more, doing it for the love and trying to keep their temples clean.
That whole I wouldn't say that it's not out there. Um, I would definitely say for sure that it's not in Wild West Championship Wrestling. Um, a lot of us is just the love for the business. We love to entertain. some of us are a little bit more bloodthirsty than others, and yeah, we like to get in the ring and take out our frustrations, not so much against the opponent, but just whatever frustration that may be happening going on in life. I get in that ring and I get tossed around a little bit, and at the end of the match, I feel different than when I went in.
Right.
Some kind of stress relief, maybe.
Yeah. How much? When I was at this match this last time, I'm looking at everything, and it's is it fair to call wrestling choreographed? Is that fair to say, or is it you
You
know?
know, it's predetermined. And that whole veil has been lifted. You know,
Yeah.
many times over now. So it's it's kind of a moot point to try to argue that fact.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that it's predetermined. But hey, we still get in there and we still give it 110%. Everybody in that ring, even the referee, and the referees working just as hard as we are.
Yeah. Absolutely. What kind of time goes into like practices? You guys weeks before. Uh, you know, I'm interested, like in every single move, kind of like, okay, he's going off the rope, and then I do a flying forearm. He ducks. He goes back off the rope. I mean, is it what are the man hours that you guys have to put in even
Uh,
just for the match?
I you know it's like studying for a doctorate. You are constantly searching for more knowledge. You are constantly trying to improve. You are constantly trying to get better. You could be $1 million mic guy on the microphone, and your clothesline is terrible, or vice versa. You could have one of the fanciest, you know, frog splashes in the world, but you can't talk. You have no charisma. You have, so we're constantly trying to improve ourselves to improve the product.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's very interesting, man, because I know, obviously the WWE, these big productions, so much goes into it. These guys are, every day of their lives are dedicated to the sport. But even for these independent matches, it was just interesting to see. I was just like, damn, like how, you know, these guys probably weeks before just rehearsing and getting everything in sync. It was really awesome to see, man. Um, I'm gonna get Beeline in here, and 'cause he's a real wrestling fan. He's all about the shit. He's gonna have some great questions for you as well, and then you guys can make the connection and hopefully get over on his channel as well, man. Do his straight to the ropes. So, ladies and gentlemen, no stranger to the show. Tapped in last week, and I believe the week before that, and you can catch me on his podcast here and there, and vice versa. Coming to the stage, Brian Beeline. Yes.
Hey, y'all hear me?
I hear you. Little
I think my
flow.
video,
There we go.
my video is all over the place today, but hey, that's what it is.
Yes.
What's good,
Beeline
y'all?
in the building. The video will get back. It'll get back. Let's see. But nonetheless, I can hear you. You're up on the screen. I'm here with Chase Havoc. We'll get Beeline back in the building. He's over there on the East Coast. He's in Georgia, I believe. So going on midnight for him. And I'm here with Chase Havoc, professional wrestler. And we're having a good old time, man. There you go. There we go. Back in the building. All right. All
Yeah,
right.
sometimes things happen. You feel me? What's good, y'all? Yo, what up, y'all?
How you doing, man? Chase, this is Beeline, one of my pubcast peers, Beeline, Chase Havoc,
What's
How's it
going
going?
on, Chase?
a member of the Wild West Championship Wrestling. Now,
Cool,
now,
cool.
Chase, is this Wild West Championship? Remind me again. Are you're you can still do outside promotions other than Wild West?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm not tied to any one promotion at all. No.
Okay, okay. So just a super independent, kind of like the music business. You could be like you're not backed by a major. You just kind of moving freely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I can go. As long as the door's open, I can walk into any.
Cool, cool, bro. So Chase, man, I've been kind of keeping up with the conversation that you guys have been having since the beginning here. But just to kind of get a quick run down, back of what you were saying. How long you been in the circus, man?
Back out of retirement for last 4 years now.
Okay.
I wrestled. I wrestled super huge back in the '90s,
Yeah.
late early 2000s, um, and then an injury took me out, and so I figured that this avenue was kind of closed to me, and then I got in with this promotion, and it's just been a whirlwind since.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. We host like Harris was saying, thanks Harris for having me come on too, bro. This is my field right here. But yeah, we host Straight Through the Ropes Wrestle Talk. We're on Wednesday nights. We do Wednesday night Wrestle Talk. We do commission talks 5 o'clock p.m. On commission talks, we actually work with a independent wrestler. His name's he goes by the American Prodigy, Warren Marlowe. He's actually a good guy. He's been wrestling for a while. He also had he suffered a neck injury. He was having neck problems. He's a lot smaller. It's a smaller guy, but he just recently returned back to the ring and stuff like that too, running the promotions and stuff like that in Florida and Georgia and stuff like that. Where are some of the other places you've wrestled besides you said you're from Brooklyn, right?
Right, right.
Where's some of the other promotions that you wrestled for, or has it strictly been on the West Coast?
Strictly been on the West Coast, yeah.
Yeah. Have
Um,
you? Yeah, go ahead,
Ultimate
bro.
Fighting Pro Wrestling has called me, and they book me a couple times every year.
Okay.
I really dig that promotion. Um, yeah, so
So I heard you say that you got into wrestling because you was watching. I mean, you mentioned the classic, wrestling match of Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. See,
right.
I don't know if we're the same age. I know me and Harris are the same age. But I started watching wrestling. I got into it. First match I ever saw was Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan. And I don't know if it was NWA. I'm not sure exactly what promotion it was for, but they were wrestling on the outside, they're on the guardrails. And I was watching it from my parents' bedroom doorway. And my dad was just watching it. And then from there I got into SummerSlam 1991 with when Macho Man married Miss Elizabeth and
Right.
Bret the Hitman Hart versus Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like a great Ted DiBiase, rest in peace, Virgil. That was the fucking $1 Million Man Championship. That was a big build.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, that was my introduction to wrestling, and I was watching ever since. I'm damn near
Oh
my
man,
whole life.
you're you're speaking my language. I
Mm-hmm.
base my I base my character off of like I said, old school. I am a Dusty Rhodes.
Mm.
I'm a Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yes.
I'm Dirty Dick Murdoch, Dirty Dick Slater.
Oh shit, I don't know
Old
them guys.
school. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Guys you know that would that like would like let's take for instance like Dirty Dick Murdoch or Dirty Dick Slater. They didn't care if they won or lost. They came down to the ring to fight,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they were paid to hurt people,
Oh
and
yeah,
yeah,
I'm like a big
so
Dusty, yo.
oh yeah, I'm a huge Dusty Rhodes fan. I mean, there's nothing
I heard that
more.
they did.
I mean, you want to talk about like that hard time speech. I think the hard time speech was just classic mic work.
Let me ask you, since you're saying you're a big Dusty Rhodes fan, I mean, do you keep up with the current product?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
You're missing out if you're a Dusty Rhodes fan, because I mean, Cody Rhodes, his son, is pretty much the main guy on the biggest market right now. I mean, he's heading into WrestleMania, about to dethrone one of the most dominant champions that WWE has probably ever seen in the recent history,
I
with
agree.
Roman Reigns.
I agree. Like I don't watch one. I don't watch professional wrestling anymore for the. I don't watch it with the same thought process in my mind anymore. Now I'm watching professional wrestling when I watch it for that next big star. I'm like gosh, you take AEW for instance. I love Wardlow. I think Wardlow's amazing
Yeah, he's
for a
pretty
big
good.
guy. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? For a big
yeah.
guy, I mean they're kind of pigeonholing him right now, but
Yeah, they
you
haven't
know,
really found his character. Unfortunately, his and work with MJF, I still feel like was the biggest opportunity they could have really lent with him, because MJF was on fire as far as just mic work, ring work, everything, and him being his bodyguard would have been the perfect transition. But everything with Wardlow never hit, bro. Like even the recent with Adam Cole and the Devil, like him being in that stable, it did absolutely nothing for him. Like it was, there's never been that place to like let him grow. But you are right, and he's a fucking beast, man. Like my boy, one of our partners in STR, he went to Revolution, saw Sting's last match and everything, and that's one of the first things he said coming back is you don't realize how big he fucking really is. He's a big
oh,
dude.
yeah. Like I mean, I I got to meet Andre before he died. He was in
Oh
the
shit!
wheelchair, and
Yeah,
I
sad
was like
man.
10 or 11, and he was in the wheelchair, and like I got to shake his hand, and sitting down in that wheelchair, he was as tall as I was
Bro.
at 10 or 11. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
still just larger than life.
Yeah.
You know, like and his hand. Oh my gosh, you know, like we're talking, like
Yeah.
huge.
Like a fucking like a baseball mitt. We went to when they had the I don't know if you were in New York at the time when they had WWF in New York City. They had the restaurant, they had like the merch. So we went to
Yeah.
a SmackDown in Manhattan or Madison Square Garden, and we
Hmm.
went to the restaurant for the first time. And actually, one of the displays they had Andre the Giant's hand and the Big Show's hand, the handprint, and you could put your hand on the handprint to see just how big that shit was. And
Right.
yeah, when they say catcher's mitt, like literally that big, it's crazy.
Yeah. I had Paul White give me a chop one time, and I think I'm still doing that. You
Oh shit,
know.
Big Show. So you were in the ring with Big Show?
No, we were. I think we were at a meet and greet event or something like that, and you know, and but yeah, I got a chop from him, and I've got a fairly large chest, and it just you know like that. There was no stopping that hand from
It was crazy.
touching my spine through my chest bone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Hey, Eli, have you ever been such a big wrestling fan? Have you ever thought about becoming a wrestler, jumping in the indie circuit, doing
Man,
making something or
you
I
know,
would have loved to, man, in the back in the day, but I mean, I got into mixed martial arts. I used to train mixed martial arts like pretty fucking heavy. Like I used to box and train every day for like a year. And when I had my son, actually, that was when I stopped. And I came down and I came moved to Georgia and everything like that. But I've always been a fan. I wanted to actually get into the ring and actually like have a fight. But I just never picked it back up, man. But I would love to. I wish I would have. I wish I would have. It's one of my dreams for my son, low key. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want him to dive into it a little bit. Like I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
My boys have brought to my attention like, hey, Dad, I might want to try that. All right, well, I'll
Bro,
be
you
here to
say that shit
support you
now.
if that's what you want to do, But
Yeah.
I always tell them, to have something else to fall back on because, uh, yeah,
Yeah, it's one of those sports, man, and it's like like, and I heard you talking earlier, like you said you had an injury, you came back. You got to remember when it comes to contact sports and stuff like that. No matter what you're doing, whether it be fighting, wrestling, football, basketball, everything, anything with contact, you run the risks of injury, you run the risks of addiction. That's another big one that doesn't get talked about much. And I know on Harris on your show, you talk about addiction a lot. But these guys, they go through so much trauma to their body that they're forced to fucking just like you see the videos of people like Hulk Hogan where they just fucking open a cabinet and they just have medicine galore, man, because they constantly are dealing with pain. Do you have that Havoc to where like you're just consistently on a pain kick from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep?
not anymore. I've I had I'm not gonna lie. I had a really bad alcohol and painkiller addiction after my back injury.
Yeah,
Um, but then my son came along, and I quit the painkillers, and I'm very proud to say that as of April 10th of this year, I have 3 years clean and sober. Or
congratulations,
sober
bro.
off the alcohol as well. Almost 18 years clean off the meth and the painkillers.
It's good
So
shit.
you know, they've both done their damage, of course, but
Yeah.
uh, yeah, uh, I feel very lucky to have
Well,
gotten
yeah.
to have gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
a lot of wrestlers lose their life, man. I mean, a lot of performers, athletes lose their life because you just get that kick, man. You want to feel better, and I mean, that's like the worst fucking way. It's not like just want to do something, you want to party. You fucking want to feel better, man. It's like you're hurting, your body's on the line. That's how you make your money. It's not only entertainment, it's your career, and you're just trying to fucking stay, happy enough to stand up straight. It's got to be complicated.
yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like I think I think my biggest issue was alcohol and cocaine.
Yeah.
You a party
I
hardy.
Oh man, and I could wrestle a match and have just snorted 3 lines before and come to the ring. You
Yeah.
um,
I, I was
and
gonna I was gonna ask you like did wrestling save you from your drug addiction, or you were already doing a little bit when you were dabbling with the wrestling?
um, yeah, I was into it before. Like I'm not gonna lie, but it was my son that saved my life and my
That's
wife.
awesome. Yeah, I love to hear shit like that.
Three,
That was it.
like 3 lines and going to do going into the ring just sounds like, I don't know, it sounds epic and at the same time just fucking terrifying.
Stupid. And we're talking rails. Like we're not talking, pinners. We're talking, you know, like and it was all over back then. It was all
Yeah.
over back then.
It was everywhere back then. It was the environment for sure. I mean, you watch guys and you see the promos of like the Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man. And,
Yeah,
bro,
show me.
them motherfuckers were loaded, bro. And then you hear like, the dark side of the ring stories and stuff like that now. And you understand because people like Shawn Michaels, I forgot the whole story, but people we drink and get in the ring, and you literally fucking put people's lives on the line, and it was like frowned upon. But at the same time, you still had so many people in that environment, steroids, alcohol, drugs, like it's intense, man. And then to rely on this person with your life, like for the moves to make sure they don't botch something and break your fucking neck, like that's a hell of a gamble. Did you ever
Yeah.
have any experiences with wrestlers that you wrestled where you were wrestling like somebody dangerous or maybe somebody too stiff and you had to, get into some bad confrontations?
Um, yeah, I've been in the ring with a couple of individuals that may have attempted to take certain liberties with me being a little bit older than the regular crowd in the ring. Um, like I said, I'm 46 years old, and
Mm,
so I might not move like the next guy. You know, I like to say that I'm not a spring chicken anymore, and I'm not even a fall chicken. I'm coming into my winter chicken years, and
yeah. You wheelchair chicken in it. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like when I get in the back now, I find my opponent if we haven't spoke, if we've never wrestled or if we've never spoke up to that point. First thing I tell him is, hey, look, I'm 46 years old. I'm riddled with injuries.
yeah,
There are certain things that I can't do, and there's certain things that you're not gonna do to me.
no, oh yeah, I feel you, man.
You know,
Yeah,
I haven't taken like a backdrop. Somebody shoot me square up in the air and drop me on my back. I haven't taken one of those in so long. I forgot what it feel like to fall that far. You
mm,
know,
yeah,
um, and that's just because even though I am stronger now, I still don't trust that old back injury, and one false move could completely paralyze me. So
yeah. No, you're absolutely right, and that's why, like you see, guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin who had neck injuries, or even somebody even more recent, Daniel Bryan and Paige and or Saraya, like they had these injuries, and it forces them to adapt a new style of wrestling. In my opinion, the fucked up shit with Owen Hart with him pile driving Stone Cold and breaking his neck. It brought him back as more of a brawler character because if you remember like stunning Steve Austin in NWA and or NAW, whatever it is. But in those promotions, he was a little bit more like bouncing off the ropes and stuff like that a little bit more. But Stone Cold Steve Austin, like when he came back, the Austin 316 gimmick, he was just a straight brawler, man. He didn't do any crazy fancy moves. Almost everything he had was elbow drops and fists.
he had to
So
be.
they
It's
had
like
to, yeah,
everybody knows about the Owen Hart Stone Cold Steve Austin thing, but not too many people know that prior to Austin, Owen did the same thing
Dan
to
Severn.
Everett.
Yeah, I know my shit, bro.
I know.
Yeah, I
See,
know fucking wrestling. Yeah, I know.
oh
Nobody, I
man, me
said it on my show recently.
too. Like,
Yeah,
and Severn even told him, "Don't do this move."
they warned him. Yeah, that's why they banned that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why
Rhino
they
used to
banned
do
it.
the same thing. Rhino used to do the same thing.
Oh, that sit down tombstone kind of style pile driver with your fucking head in the middle of his legs. That's the
Yeah,
worst. I
Rhino.
don't even understand. That's like ever legal.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, well, everybody comes up with something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, I could go to my promoters, or my promoters could come up to me and say, "Hey, Chase, we want you to try this move." No, that's I don't feel that that's safe for either me or my opponent. You
yeah,
know, or I can go to my promoters or my booker and say, hey, I want to try this, this, and this. This works for you, but this doesn't. You know,
Yeah, for real.
as Harrison knows, the last show, um, I got up on that second rope and I did that Vader splash off the second rope.
Big
That
Bad
was
Vader.
that was something that was just talked about 2 weeks prior to that match. I
Did you
said,
get any
this is
practice?
something that I want to do. This is something that I want to do. I want to do that. I wanted to do the. I was a huge fan of Vader. Like Vader was
Yes.
Vader's on my Mount Rushmore of big men. I think.
Oh
Him
shit.
and
Okay.
Bam
Yes.
Bam.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Andre, of course. I think I've never been able to put Andre on a Mount Rushmore. I think he's above the he's the mountain holding the Mount Rushmore up.
Especially in like the 70s and the 80s, or like the early 80s and everything like that. Like, when Andre the Giant, people remember him in the early 90s when he was getting sick and everything. But when Andre the Giant was like, legit in the territories, like he was a fucking beast, man. Drop kicks, he can move like, you never saw that shit before. He was a spectacle all in himself. And Vince McMahon own that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he was I just found out recently he was one of the first ones that really, brought over the WWF, like to create the WWF from the WWF, which his fucking father owned and everything. So I never knew that stuff. I never knew Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan. These were the first guys that created WWF when he took it over from his dad.
Right.
And
I mean, there's a classic match, Madison Square Garden, 1978, 79, I want to say. It was Kamala versus Andre the Giant,
Andre the Giant.
Madison Square Garden steel cage match.
Yep, I remember that.
Dude, see that's like my knowledge goes, almost before I was born, really. I because of the modern, because of this wonderful thing, the phone and the internet, I can go back and I can watch some of those old guys. Like I just watched a match with Vern Gagne.
I'm not sure that is. You got me on that one. I remember Kamala, man. Kamala was a spectacle as well. Like, people didn't give him a lot of grace, and he kind of went out in such a bad way. He lost his legs, or at least one of his leg, I know for sure, from diabetes. Andre, bro. Andre was a beast in the ring. If you get a chance, watch the special, the HBO special, Andre the Giant. It's a great depiction of the stories with the rivals, and also if you get a chance, listen to Jake the Snake on Joe Rogan talking about the stories of Andre the Giant. Incredible, man. The challenges he went with traveling and
with his handler.
yeah, it's unreal, man.
Yeah.
But Chase, what's your move, man? What's your finisher?
Now it's that Vader bomb off the second rope. I set it up with an old Ron Simmons style spine buster.
No way. That's the best spine buster in the game right there. People forget how good his spine buster, man. Listen, devastating.
Yeah, amazing.
Yes.
Like I said, I base my gimmick a lot of on old. I remember watching Ron Simmons win the title from Vader.
Yep.
And he picked him up and dropped him with that spine buster, and that was it.
The first black African American WCW champion.
Yep.
Incredible, bro.
What sort of, let's say if you have an opponent, that goes outside of, does something you don't want him to do, is there some contractual stuff that maybe this guy can get fined or kicked off a circuit If
Listen,
people,
there's a thing called cashing a receipt,
Yep.
and if if like I said earlier, if you try to take certain liberties, you know, I'm uh, I'm
I'm good.
okay with cashing a receipt, and that means that my next shot might come a little bit faster, a little bit harder, a little bit stiffer. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, yeah, this one right here.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Hitter would hit Moonsaults, Vader, and Bam Bam Bigelow, man. Two of the most agile.
yeah,
Big definitely Bam Bam. Bam Bam was agile as shit for a big guy, yo.
you can do
Vader would
cartwheels.
hit moonsaults. Vader was a little more reckless.
Yeah.
Um, but still real like fun, man. Him and his history with Cactus Jack. You were talking about receipts, man. I heard the story. I knew the story, but I reheard it recently. With remember Public Enemy
Oh yeah.
from ECW and the Acolytes talking about Farouk and Bradshaw.
That show.
And when they didn't want to do business and they wanted to kind of go into business for themselves, and Farouk and Bradshaw beat the shit out of. And it's crazy because Harris, I heard you ask earlier about the predetermination of wrestling and shit like that. Here's the thing, man. Like, you go in that ring and there's all different types of superstars. There's all different types of wrestlers that you're working with. So you might have the guy that's following the rules. You might have the guy that's trying to fucking show off. You might have the guy that's over there just like, listen, he's got a grudge. He's got something against you, whatever. So he's going to go into business for himself and he's going to be a little stiffer. He's going to punch you in the fucking face. There's a lot of
Mhm.
stories that we're hearing now with people who were literally fucking concussed in the ring, and you don't even realize it while you're watching it. You're just watching the match. These are fucking performers, and you don't realize this guy just got kicked in the fucking head and is seeing stars right now while you're watching him wrestle. And it's incredible, man. It like people have said, the fake conversation for so long back in the day when kayfabe existed, and you wanted to believe the Undertaker was really dead. But at the end of the day, these motherfuckers is really in there beating the shit out of each other multiple times a week.
yeah,
Fucking crazy.
yeah. But
Big dudes too, man. Not schoolyard fights. The
yeah,
fucking giants.
when I
I've
went
had
to
I've had to cash a couple receipts,
I
and I'm
bet,
not gonna
man.
lie, I've had a couple receipts cashed on me.
Yeah.
I stiffed a guy once completely by accident. I stiffed him with a knee shot to the side of the face, sort of like the Braun Strowman, um,
Brock
uh,
Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar thing.
That was rough.
The next shot that big fella gave me, I felt that shot for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
what
I,
threw me off. Well, not off, but was like the slaps. Being in the ring is like. I mean, it's definitely not fake by any long shot because I mean, motherfuckers are still getting slapped across the chest, slapped
Right.
across the back. You hearing the impact. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. There's some added effects sometimes, but like you just said, especially like those Warren, the American Prodigy guy, on our show, he hates the chest chops. Like he hates them. He says one thing in the ring that he hates because, and I agree with him. If you watch guys like Gunther right now in WWE, like he's fucking brutal. There's Samoa Joe and Daniel Bryan or Brian Danielson, whoever. Like these are two other guys. Pete Dunne in fucking WUK. These are guys that will open your fucking chest up, like literally, bro. And like, I mean, chops aren't even the word. Big Show used to do that chop where he's like, "Yo, everybody be quiet," and then smack the shit. That there's no way to fake that. Like, you're just getting your fucking chest caved in multiple times a night, man. That
you
shit
know,
is devastating.
it was Diamond Dallas Page who said, in an interview once that, yeah, what we do is what we do is predetermined and what we do is very choreographed, but you can't fake gravity.
Hell no.
You know, every time you see me, every time you see me hit the mat, every time you see a professional athlete hitting that mat, that's near 300 pounds coming down on that mat,
Yep.
and the pad's only about that thick,
Yep.
and then underneath it is plywood and two by fours.
That's
So
it.
I I wrestle, and then for a couple of days afterwards, it's like Epsom salts and ibuprofen.
I feel you, bro. And
Oh,
shout out to you. More power to you because you're upper in age and your body ain't bouncing back like it used to and shit. I mean, I know we're like 37 and our bodies ain't bouncing back. So you in the ring taking fucking bumps. More power to you, man. It's got to be a passion. You have to love doing that shit.
it is. Like I said at the beginning of the show, the moment that I got to pick up that first guy in the ring uh, and cart him outside the building that we were wrestling in, I was hooked. The promoter called me up to his office after we were done, after the show was over, and he says, "You want back in? Let me go talk to my wife. I'll call you in the morning." And sure enough, I was on the roster shortly after that.
Is she cool with it?
Yeah, my wife's a huge supporter. When I told her that I wanted to get back into it, she looked at me and says, "Okay, if that's what you want to do, I'm not going to stop you." And she goes to every show, and she's right there. She's helped me. She's helped me with my ring gear. There have been times where we've had to drive 3.5 hours to a show, you know,
Yeah.
or after a show, it's 10 o'clock at night, and she's driving back over the mountains to get us back home because I'm dead asleep in the passenger seat of the car.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's definitely awesome. But yeah, man, you gotta get caught up on now. Like I was saying, like now you got you know, uh, from back in the day, like us watching, like the old school guys, man. Literally, all the old school guys, their kids are running the shit now. In the big promotion, you got Cody Rhodes, one of the biggest stars in WWE right now. You got Roman Reigns, the son of Alpha, and Sika, the Wild Samoans back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like that's their kid. He's dominating right now. The Usos, Rikishi, the Headbangers, like it's all their children that are just literally. He's on.
We lost him for a minute. Hopefully he'll click back on. He's not too tech savvy. Let me text him, make sure.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, it's always crazy. Like I love wrestling, man. I always have loved. Like I said on the show, like I've always loved wrestling, and it's interesting to see the transition that wrestling has taken. A lot of people talk about WWE because it is one of the originators, man. Like you had WCW, but now you do have so many different promotions from Ring of Honor to AEW to New Japan to MLW. There's a whole bunch of like even smaller independent promotions that are even gaining popularity right now. Whether you look at Jacob Fatu in MLW, there's so many different people that have opportunity, like you at Spring Stampede. So it's like you're given an opportunity to go into a promotion with your booker, and he's putting you in situations, and then you never know, man. That guy that you're wrestling tomorrow or next week or at that Spring Stampede, 5 years down the line, we might be seeing him, jobbing out to somebody. Next thing you know, he's fucking the next John Cena or The Rock. Like that's how it happens. You never know the next, person that you're gonna see in the big spotlight, wearing on the t-shirt and everything. That's what's so engaging about it.
Your Brock Lesnar's, your John Cena's, your Seth Rollins,
Yep.
Cesaro, all these guys. I mean, if it hadn't have been for like you watch some of Dean Ambrose's like indie matches,
John
some
Moxley,
of Seth Rollins, indie matches, like it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And I'm in Georgia, so like I literally, you know, I'm from New Jersey, but it's like, you know, being in Georgia, I used to go with this guy to work with at Target to a whole bunch of different independent promotions and stuff like that, and just to see like the crowds and their investment in these smaller promotions, like whether it be gymnasiums, whether it be just like a barn. I went to a barn one time, and these motherfuckers had a wrestling ring, and it was everybody wrestling. And you see the engagement. They're selling their merchandise. They're building a name for themselves. And then, you know, next thing you know, the right promoter might be scouting, you know, making the tape, and then bam, your career's in another level you didn't even realize.
And one of the things that I say all the time, and I tell people this all the time, is, if you're a fan of professional wrestling, or if you're not a fan of professional wrestling, but have come across it, while flipping channels or whatever, and been like, oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty neat. I tell people all the time, go to a live show.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot of fun.
And the indies specifically, because you have individuals that are still hungry. You have individuals that are still doing it for the love of the business and not a paycheck. You know what I mean? There's an old saying in the indie business: we're wrestling for a handshake and a hot dog.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, you can watch 1,000 matches, you can watch 1,000,000 matches on YouTube and Peacock and all these other little, you know what I'm saying? But until you come to a live event,
and there's a difference,
and catch that guy's spit in your lap, or watch that female do some crazy off the top rope maneuver, like it's a completely different experience.
Yeah, it's another world. Recently, they just had, at AEW Revolution, Darby Allin, for Sting's last match, he took a crazy spot, and basically he went to the top of the fucking ladder in the ring and did a dive through a damn glass panel, and the glass, basically broke up and exploded all over the people who were in the front row. And this is the first time I've ever heard this shit, because I've never heard it in professional wrestling, but people were actually like, trying to like, take legal action. But and AEW is like, man, listen, you came to a wrestling show, like, we warned you, like, there's going to be some things that happen. But all my time watching wrestling, I've never heard, I don't know if it's the times or what, but I've never heard anybody trying to take legal action for a fucking wrestling match. I mean, like, that's just one of the things, man.
I've never heard of that. I think
that's new age bullshit.
Yeah, everybody's happy, right?
Yeah, man.
Gotta get that easy million.
Try it at least.
Yeah, I've wrestled in auditoriums, and I've wrestled in bars, and I've watched a match where the first 5 rows of chairs get blown out of the way because you have two guys 250 plus pounds just getting drugged through the audience. And people need to understand that for us to put on our performance, we need to we need the entire stage, not just the ring, so
yeah.
And,
all right, I gotta probably a couple more questions real quick, and then I'm probably going to bounce out. Is super late over here, but Havoc, I just wanted to know, like, in your time and in your that you've been wrestling for quite some time. If you like, been wrestling like since like the 90s, you said, right?
mm-hmm.
Then you said that you left and then got injured and then came back. How long would you say your career has been, like, altogether? Like, how many years would you put it all together?
15.
About 15 years. Out of those 15 years, has there been any big names that you've been in the ring with that have made it to, like, the stars? WWE, AEW, WCW, any of the big names, or even like smaller promotions?
I've been in a lot of smaller promotions. I have a couple of guys that I originally was training with. Reno Scum. They were in, Impact, I think.
Okay. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Their name don't ring a bell. I probably see him.
Luster and Adam Barstow. Um, I mean, they wrestled for the tag team titles in Impact, I think it was.
Okay.
You know, but I can't really think of anybody off the top of my noggin right now. I mean, my mentor and trainer was Mustafa Saeed, Mr. Mustafa from ECW.
Yeah. That name sounded familiar. I'd picture him real quick. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool shit.
Along
Um,
with
one of the first wrestler guys that I had the opportunity to interview was I don't know if you remember him, but Kenny Bolin. In OVW, he was kind of like he was John Cena's first manager. He basically when he was the prototype, and
right.
yeah, Kenny Bolin and Jim Cornette, they were like best friends, and they're fucking like mortal enemies now. But yeah, but he came on and told me like all the stories about like how he got his introduction to into the promotions and stuff like that, and it was a really interesting story. But one of those kind of like larger than life characters that's a little bit too larger than life, but not really larger than life, like kind of in his own head and shit.
Right.
But it was interesting perspective. But like guys like Jim Cornette, man, who are legends of the industry, but still like it's weird because even though they had a lot more motive and movement in the territory days, and then when Vince bought that shit up, man, it was like Vince just pretty much put everybody at his mercy, man. And you couldn't get a lot of tracking. Like if you wasn't working with Vince, then you can forget about it. You weren't really doing shit for a while
Oh
until
no.
other promotions started popping up. Or you went to Japan. That was the only other motherfucking spot you can go is Japan, because he had the states taken.
Or Mexico.
Yeah, or Mexico. That's right, or Mexico. Lucha's. But yeah, bro, it's really interesting talking with you, man. Like definitely always love talking wrestling. Harris, definitely appreciate the invite, bro.
Yeah, thank
Definitely you're more than welcome to jump on and join us on STR, man, or even like commission. And it'll be a little bit of a time difference, but I'll get your info from Harris. Good luck at the Stampede. Who are you wrestling at the Stampede?
Oh, I just saw the card. It's a gauntlet match, so there's like
Oh
five or
shit.
seven guys involved. So
There you go.
one of them being my former tag team partner.
Oh, okay. That's always fun. Call back. You got to do the
Yeah.
whole ring spot too. Got to look them down, like what's up,
Oh, I got to turn on him in the last show, so
Oh yeah.
we're gonna compete that. We're gonna complete that storyline here.
There you go. I love the build. Like I heard you say also, like stories. That's the one thing that I really, really wish all wrestling promotions really understand more than anything. Bro, the fucking story. I love the good wrestling. Yes, you got guys who are fantastic wrestlers, flippity doodah, whatever. But then it's the stories that build, bro. Some of the most classics, talking about tag teams, all go all the way back to Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, bro. One of the most heartbreaking fucking separation of a tag team in history, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Kicking Marty Jannetty and then throwing him through the damn barbershop window on the bro. Listen, man, that shit still hurts. Like I was a
Yep.
Rockers fan.
I was
Yeah,
watching that too.
yeah, man. Yeah, I was definitely a lot of those great storytelling aspects that really keep you engaged. The bloodline storyline of the last 3 years with Roman Reigns and the Usos, and it's been some of the best storytelling in WWE and wrestling history. It's amazing, man. So the stories definitely build characters, and you always have an I mean to say, like I haven't been in the ring, but I've talked to so many wrestlers. I definitely understand this shit. Every match you do, you have an opportunity to tell a story, even if it's not with anybody else. You could build up your own story throughout different companies, just with how you interact with people, how you interact with the fans, your social media. You literally can create your whole image and build your shit if you do it correctly, man. If you ain't just trying to rely on everybody else to do that shit for you, I think that's a lot of people need to start taking that shit into their own hands.
Right.
But we debate all day with that shit, bro. That's our whole fucking shot over there. That's
Sounds
yeah.
all
All
right.
right,
Hey man, have a good night. Appreciate you coming on, and look forward to seeing Chase over on your platform.
for sure, for sure, for sure. Peace out, guys. Have a great night.
All
See you
right.
later.
Beeline Entertainment, everybody, go subscribe to his channel. Some good stuff there. Yeah, he's like a super wrestling fan. Knows his shit. So I wanted to get him on, and I know you guys will have a great time over there. I wanted to ask too, like about the branding, like how much branding for yourself do you do? Have you gotten into the merchandise, or are you on social media heavy? How's that kind of been for you, trying to brand Chase Havoc
Chase Havoc. I've got my own. I've got my own Facebook now. I'm working on Instagram, Twitter. Um, I do have merchandise. I have T-shirts that I sell. You know, headshots. I have that. They were taken by like professional artists, so they look really nice. Uh, you know, uh, but that's all stuff that comes out of my pocket. You know what I mean? So it's like I have to go. I have to go to the store. I have to get the T-shirts in various sizes so I can print my logo on them. My logo right now for Chase Havoc has been trademarked. I trademarked it, myself. So, you know, like I own Chase Havoc. Nobody else owns Chase
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. Similar to what I'm trying to do over here. Branding the logos, getting everything so nobody can steal it. Right. It's like you work hard. You don't want some kid from Iowa. All of a sudden he's Chase Havoc. And he so how much does that go into play? uh I mean, like, okay, like, so with your booker, is it a relationship that you've formed throughout the years? Is it like built on trust now at this point?
Yes, very much. Like, you know, uh, um, the Booker, he knows what I'm capable of doing. Um, yeah, um, he knows me. He knows what I'm capable of in the ring. He knows my limitations, and so you know, uh, he puts me in. He makes sure that I do what I need to do for the company, and so in in retrospect for that, I get ring time. You know,
Right. Yeah, like I asked you earlier, like if there's like a lot of politics. In my head, it seems like you do have to, obviously, in any business you don't want to burn bridges. You want to keep your relationships um, good with people. Have you ever came across like maybe a younger guy that's just completely too full of himself, and he's
oh
burned those bridges to where it's like, hey, he might have some talent, but this kid's a fucking asshole. He just wants to go out there and like win every match. Do you come across those types of
yes,
people?
yes, and I won't mention any names, but we had an individual in our company a little while ago that got a little too big for his britches, and ended up throwing a super fit, um, because he wasn't getting, even though he was getting his shots at the titles. You know what I mean? He he wasn't winning every title like he wanted to, or you know, or if his his storylines weren't weren't going, the way that he thought they should, So, um, yeah, and he didn't burn a bridge per se, but I've heard through communications with promoter and booker and stuff like that that yeah he's willing to come back. I mean he's more than able and would be accepted back in the locker room, but he needs to change his attitude first. We're all here to do a job.
Yeah, kind of like the weakest link. I mean, if you're doing a match and you got 12 people and it's like, and you have one or two of them that's screwing off or dicking around, that can kind of cause trouble for everybody, right?
Yeah, yeah. And if you've got one individual whose ego might not match up with his talent, then you get an issue. Then you get a problem.
Makes sense. But how is the camaraderie? Like with most sports, that's what we love. Men, we love like the camaraderie. Do you have a group of your wrestling buddies, or these? Does that help keep you in it as well? Like these lifelong relationships that you've built.
I call everybody in that locker room brother and sister because at the end of the day, we are a family because we're in there running this incredibly high risk of seriously injuring one another, but we're trying our hardest to, to both walk away.
Yeah, you cut off the last part there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like we're both trying to, we're both trying to walk away at the end of the night. So, when it comes to that locker room, I've got a lot of I call everybody in that locker room brother and sister for as you have if you can't trust the rest of the people in that locker room, then yeah, you need to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Is there got a couple more questions? Like, I don't want to keep you too long tonight. I appreciate you for coming on, man. This has been dope. I do this every Thursday. You're more than welcome to come back on any other night as well. Sometimes I'll just randomly send the link to people, and hey, there's a topic, and then if you want to come on, um, if you were to, if let's say, I guess Vince McMahon or whoever it was, like, if you got a call tonight, and you could lay out your dream scenario, whether it's working in the WWE or whatever it would be. Like, do you have an idea of what your like dream like storyline would be, your opponent you would match up with, anything like that, like or a certain match to define Chase Havoc as a whole, like just a
Uh, I'm a huge street fight match guy. I love those. No rules, uh, no holds barred. Just good old Jr. would say a good old slobber knocker. That's what I like. I like and just you know no fancy flips, just fists for me.
Oh, sounds about right. Is there what's the one like superstar that you would love to get in the ring with if you had to pick you know one or two?
And if I had to pick, I would love to be I would love to get in the ring with, like, say, Stone Cold. If just another no nonsense, slap the taste out of your mouth kind of guy. Um, that would be huge. I think. Um, my character, my gimmick is a little bit bigger, so I beat you down, I keep you down. Um, I would have loved to have wrestled. I would have loved to have wrestled the Andersons. Arn Anderson and Ole Anderson, both hard hitters, and would have been. It would have been that would have been an amazing match. I think.
Dope, man. I hope you keep chasing the dream. Before we get out of here, tell the world, tell whoever, plug anything you want. Your Instagram, Facebook, anywhere people can find you. Um, let them know. And I'm gonna
Chase
post this
Havoc
right here as well.
on Facebook. You just type that up, and if you look up my partner Russell Young, he'll be able to. If you can't find Chase Havoc on Facebook, look up Russell Young, and he'll get you attached to me real quick. The only thing I really got to plug, man, is Spring Stampede. It is going to be a barn burner. We have matches. We have all ages show. Tickets are $20 for adults. Children 12 and under are $10. There's a bar. There's food. Entertainment, and it's going to be great. And that's April 13th. That doors open at 2:30, and matches start at 3. And if you ain't never been to a live event, you need to come to this one.
All right. I plan to be back up in the building for sure. My son enjoyed it, so did my girl, and definitely want to continue to support you, man. And so I'll be in the building, and and then maybe if you have time or something, we could even do like a pre or a post interview or something like that, or I could bring a better camera, maybe get some footage or something like that,
Always, always.
That'd be really cool to integrate with some wrestlers, and if you know anybody else that wants to interview and wants to come on, I'd love to have them as well, man. All right, man. But Chase Havoc, man, thank you so much. I just sent you a friend request or on Facebook, and then but throughout the week and everything, man, I'll continue to talk about it. I'll promote this Spring Stampede, and I wish you the best of luck, though, man, and keep doing your thing, bro. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, my brother. Well, you stay blessed and keep training, man. I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
All right, brother.
Bye.
Chase Havoc, everybody. Professional wrestler up in the building here on the Harris is Drink It Again pubcast. I think this deserves a boom. I said, I think this deserves a boom. Wonderful show. Beeline, thank you as well for coming on. I'm going to shoot you Chase's information. That way you guys can make the connection. And it's a beautiful thing, man. Networking, baby. Shout out to Peace. Peace something on Podbean. Peace Awaku. Appreciate you tapping in. All right. So, yes, we got this Wild West Championship Wrestling Spring Stampede, Saturday, April 13th, here in Reno, Nevada, 555 East 4th Street. All right. And next week, I'm hoping to have another gentleman on. I don't want to, it's not a for sure thing, but we got another guy I want to try to get on. We're going to go back to the addiction kind of he has a spiritual journey that he wants to get out to people, and I've already recorded him, done like a mini interview. I'm going to be editing it the next week or two and posting it up on the YouTube channel, as a testimony, as his testimony. So he goes by Reno Rob. So be on the lookout for that. We'll get a couple more shorts posted up this week. And other than that, we're just going to stay grinding, man. Every week, Thursday, 8 p.m., TNR, Thursday, therapy night, rants. I'm in the building. It don't matter what I'm doing. I'm here every Thursday. Staying strong, staying consistent. 111 episodes tonight. We'll be back next week for episode 112. Might even play some 112. You know what I'm saying? And in the meantime, thank everybody for tapping in, whether you're watching this live or in the future. Subscribe to the channel. We got some interviews up there. We got a bunch of cool stuff. I got some music, and my mind's constantly working. I wish there was more hours in a day so I could complete all the things that I have in my brain. A lot of it's money, and but as we save and grow, the channel's going to grow. All right, so we're far from done. Harris is Drink It Again Pubcast. You never know what you're going to get. That's right. Everybody stay safe, drink responsibly, and wear your motherfucking seatbelt. We out this bitch. Harry's drinking again. See y'all next week. Much love. Drink it again.
Hey man, this is Tommy Chung, and you're listening and watching Harris is Drinking Again. Sounds like a ghetto movie.
What's cracking, y'all? It's Lil Kelpie from the 1503, aka Kelpie the P, aka call me whatever you want, just don't call me broke. And I'm fucking with the Harris is Drinking Again podcast, one of the first podcasts or platforms to put me on. Y'all better stay following them, watching them. Stay tuned for more shit. Big things happening in the future.
Harry's Drinking Again Pubcast. Yo. You have been listening to the Harris is Drinking Again Pubcast. For more, go to YouTube, type in @HideaPubcast. Look us up on Spotify, any and all streaming platforms. Harris is Drinking Again Pubcast. Thank you.